MPBN will broadcast the debate for governor on Thursday, October 28th at 8. Between now and then, we have invited all of the ballot qualified candidates onto Maine Watch so that you can get a chance to know them. On this show, Independents Eliot Cutler and Kevin Scott, we begin with Eliot Cutler. Cutler grew up in Bangor, now lives in Cape Elizabeth. He has served in both the public and private sector. In the public sector, in the Carter administration most notably, and in the private sector as a lawyer and businessman. Eliot Cutler, welcome to Maine Watch.
Delighted to be here, Jennifer.
First question for all of the gubernatorial candidates, why do you want to be governor?
Why are you doing this?
That's why are you running for governor? Why are you doing this?
First of all, it's a great opportunity. And it's an opportunity not only to do something important for Maine, but it's an opportunity to help turn Maine around. I have a vision for Maine that says to me that we can be the comeback state of the next decade. And when that opportunity presents itself, as it does today, I think to shy away from it and to retreat from it would be a terrible mistake. Secondly, I'm a fighter. I don't shrink from challenge. I mean, when Jimmy Carter asked me to help settle the Maine Indian land claims case, I didn't say no. When people asked me to help get a new airport built in Denver, I didn't say no. This is a huge challenge in Maine, and I think I have the skills and experience over 40 years of public and private sector experience and work to do it.
You say this is a huge challenge in Maine. What do you think is the biggest part of that challenge, and how do you overcome it?
I think the biggest part of the challenge is restoring people's confidence in themselves, restoring people's confidence in the political process. Maine people traditionally are resilient, tenacious, hardworking. We're problem solvers. But somehow over the past couple of decades, we've lost our sort of innate self-confidence, and we've got to restore that. And when we restore that and restore credibility in the political process, I think that we can take off like a jet fighter.
You've worked for Democratic politicians and supported many Democratic candidates over the years. When did you become an independent and why?
Well, first I had a way station, Jennifer. I became a Republican first. I left the Democratic Party really over the period of time in the 2000s, late 90s and 2000s, when I saw the state Democratic Party becoming increasingly tied to special interests, the teachers union, public employees union in the state of Maine, not the employees, not the teachers, but the unions and the union leadership. And it was putting the party in a straitjacket. And I had been a Democrat because when I was growing up in Maine and when I worked for Ed Muskie, the Democratic Party was the Reform Party. And it wasn't anymore, and I left. And the straw that broke my camel's back was in 2004 when Governor Baldacci tried to borrow $400 million to keep the lights on, to pay operating expenses. Well, I'm a fiscal conservative, and that didn't sit right with me. So I enrolled as a Republican, and I supported Peter Mills in the Republican primary in 2004. That didn't turn out very well. And I became an independent. And I've really been an independent for decades. I'm an independent thinker and an independent voter, just like most people in Maine, whether we're enrolled as in one party or another.
You said as governor you'd order a top-to-bottom evaluation of every department in Maine governor. Now, that's not a new idea, and I suspect that any governor we talk to, if we, for example, talk to Governor Angus King, he would say, I did that. Why is what you're proposing, why is your plan different?
Well, three reasons. First of all, I've already proposed some of the changes that I'd make in Maine government. I've been very specific about some of the reorganization steps that I would want to take. Secondly, I have not said I'm going to bring in someone from outside, another commission, to do a report and have it sit on the shelf. I've said I will chair this effort. I will do it. That's what a governor should do. And I've said how we're going to do it. We're going to do it through zero-based budgeting, which is a critically important measure that we've never done in Maine. It says we're going to look at every single program, every single tax break, and we're going to bring it down to zero and then work them back up to where we need to be, draw a line at what we can afford, and that's what we're going to do. And finally, I've suggested that we make an arrangement with the legislature where the legislature will do what the federal Congress did with BRAC. And the Congress of the United States, when they couldn't figure out how to close military bases around the country, and when our military base strength was huge, The Congress couldn't figure out how to do it because it couldn't get around each member's objections to closing a base in their own district. And so they invented this process where the president and the executive branch submits to the legislative branch a list of measures to take to save money. And the Congress, or in this case the Maine legislature, has to decide up or down, not compromising, but up or down. If we have that process in Maine, I think we can do some real structural change.
What is the proper role of state government in helping create good new jobs?
Well, the one thing we have to be clear about is that neither the governor nor the state government creates or should create jobs. But what a governor and a state government can do is create or recreate conditions for employers, for investors, for others to succeed in creating jobs in the private sector. The biggest problem we have in Maine today, what's made our economy come dead in the water, is that we have a cost of living and doing business in the state of Maine, the price of health care, the price of electricity, the price of governing ourselves. We have a cost structure that's keeping investment out. Investment doesn't come into the state of Maine in any degree to which it should. That means we're not creating jobs, we're not seeing incomes and opportunities for ourselves and for our kids.
You've authored a welfare reform plan that, among other things, steps up enforcement and limits temporary benefits to 5 years. How pervasive a problem do you believe that welfare fraud and misuse is in Maine?
You know, I don't like the terms fraud and misuse because in any system where you're spending this much money, there's going to be fraud and misuse, and I don't care whether it's public assistance or whether it's defense spending or whether it's road building or what. You're going to have instances of fraud and misuse. I don't think fraud and misuse is the fundamental problem with the public assistance system in Maine. I think the fundamental problems are these. Number one, we don't have enough jobs for people. We do not have economic activity that's creating jobs. Number two, we discourage people who are on public assistance from working because of what we call the cliff effect. If you're on public assistance and you want to go to work, if you make just this much above a certain limit, you lose all of your public assistance benefits. That's wrong. And thirdly, we have a department that's administering, the Department of Health and Human Services, that's trying to administer contracts with 7,000 providers.
So we're out of time. I'm guessing you want to reform all three of those.
I do. Thanks for concluding that.
Thank you, Eliot Cutler. And we'll see you at the debate on October 28th.